The restaurant buzzed with soft jazz, clinking glasses, and the hum of quiet conversation. Amidst the sea of elegant diners, a young waitress moved silently between tables. Her name was Emily Carter. With her hair neatly tied back and her eyes lowered, she appeared invisible, blending into the rhythm of her job. She preferred it that way. Speaking had never been her strength, not because she couldn't, but because words often failed her. She carried the weight of a quiet past, a past marked by loneliness and the struggle of being misunderstood. That evening, however, would change her life forever. Before we dive deeper into this powerful true-to-life story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Soul Spark, where every story reignites the human spirit and reminds us what truly matters. At table 6 sat Evelyn Sterling, an elegant woman in her late 60s with silver hair styled in graceful waves. Her calm presence contrasted with the world around her. Next to her was her son, Nathan Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Enterprises, a young billionaire whose sharp suit and colder demeanor intimidated everyone. The staff whispered about him, about his wealth, his brilliance, and his arrogance. But few knew that Nathan's mother, Evelyn, had been deaf since her mid-20s after a tragic car accident. Most waiters at La Belle Maison avoided serving her, afraid of the awkwardness, afraid of making mistakes. But that night, fate had other plans. When Emily picked up the next order slip, she froze. Table 6, the billionaire and his mother. Her heart raced. She'd seen him on the cover of Forbes just last week, the youngest self-made CEO in the country. What if she embarrassed herself? What if she got fired? Still, Emily took a deep breath and walked over, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the menus down. Evelyn smiled warmly at her, but Emily noticed something that made her pause. The woman's lips moved softly, but there was no sound. Then she saw it, the hearing aid, the faint sign of lip reading. And before she could overthink it, Emily did something that stunned everyone around her. She began to sign. Her hands moved gracefully, fluently. "Good evening, ma'am. My name is Emily. I'll be your waitress tonight." For a second, silence fell over the table. Evelyn's eyes widened in disbelief, her expression transforming into one of pure emotion. Slowly, her lips curved into a smile so genuine it made Emily's eyes sting. The restaurant's murmurs faded. Even Nathan looked up from his phone, startled. He'd grown used to people ignoring his mother, treating her condition like a barrier. But this shy waitress was different. She didn't stumble, didn't pity her. She communicated. As the conversation unfolded in sign language, Evelyn's hands danced with joy. She asked Emily about her background, how she learned to sign. Emily shyly explained that her late grandmother had been deaf, and signing was their secret language, one that had made silence feel less lonely. Evelyn's eyes glistened. "You have a beautiful heart," she signed back. Nathan watched silently, the scene unraveling before him. Something unfamiliar stirred inside his chest. Warmth, admiration, and a strange guilt. For years, he'd tried to protect his mother from the world, but he'd also isolated her without meaning to. Seeing her light up with laughter, real laughter, after so long broke something inside him. He didn't speak for the rest of the meal, but his eyes never left Emily. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn insisted on visiting La Belle Maison more frequently, always requesting Emily as her waitress. Their bond grew, each conversation full of gentle humor and heartfelt warmth. Emily became like a daughter to her, someone who didn't just hear but listened with her heart. Nathan began accompanying his mother more often. At first, he claimed it was for security reasons, but everyone knew better. He found excuses to stay longer, to ask Emily simple questions about the menu, about her shift hours, about her life. She always answered politely but never lingered. Her humility fascinated him. In a world obsessed with money and power, she was refreshingly sincere. One rainy evening, Evelyn invited Emily to their mansion for tea. Emily hesitated, overwhelmed by the idea of stepping into such wealth. But Evelyn's warmth left her no choice. Inside the grand Sterling estate, Emily was both awestruck and uneasy. Chandeliers glistened like falling stars, portraits lined the walls. Yet for all its luxury, it felt empty. Evelyn confessed that Nathan's success had come at a cost. His loneliness, his inability to trust. When Nathan entered the room, soaked from the rain after rushing home, he found Emily and his mother laughing together, a sight he hadn't seen in years. His usual composure faltered. That night, something shifted. Nathan asked Emily to stay for dinner. He watched the way she spoke with his mother, the kindness in her every gesture. For the first time, Nathan saw his world, his empire, his wealth, through her eyes, and for the first time it felt small. But life is never without its storms. One afternoon during lunch service, Evelyn collapsed in the restaurant. Panic erupted. Emily rushed to her side, calling for help, while Nathan, who was coincidentally arriving for a meeting, sprinted in horror toward his mother. At the hospital, hours passed in unbearable silence. Emily waited outside, tears streaming down her cheeks, terrified to intrude yet unable to leave. When the doctor finally came out, he said Evelyn would recover, but stress and isolation had worsened her heart condition. Nathan looked shattered, guilt painted across his face. Then, unexpectedly, his mother requested Emily. Inside the room, Evelyn signed weakly, "You gave me joy again, Emily. Promise me you'll help Nathan see the world I see, not with his eyes, but with his heart." Emily nodded, tears blurring her vision. Weeks later, when Evelyn was discharged, Nathan approached Emily with an offer to become his mother's personal interpreter and companion. But Emily refused politely. "Your mother doesn't need an interpreter," she said softly. "She just needs people who are willing to listen." Her words hit Nathan harder than any business negotiation ever had. From that day, he began learning sign language, awkwardly at first, but with determination. Evelyn's laughter returned. And through every lesson, Emily stood by, guiding him with patience and warmth. Their bond deepened, not from luxury or attraction, but from understanding, compassion, and shared silence. One evening, months later, during a charity gala organized for hearing-impaired children, Nathan took the stage. Cameras flashed, the crowd fell silent, but Nathan didn't speak into the microphone. Instead, he began to sign. "This is for my mother, who taught me that silence can be the loudest love of all, and for the woman who reminded me how to hear again, not with ears, but with my heart." The audience gasped as Evelyn wept in pride, and Emily, standing in the crowd, felt tears roll down her cheeks. Nathan stepped off the stage, walked straight to her, and simply signed, "Thank you." The entire hall erupted into applause. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more real, emotional stories that heal and inspire. In the months that followed, Emily and Nathan's worlds intertwined naturally, not through grand gestures but quiet moments of connection. Together, they founded the Sterling Foundation for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, offering free education and job training for those often forgotten by society. And Evelyn, radiant and proud, often watched them with tears in her eyes, whispering her gratitude to the universe. The shy waitress who once hid behind silence had become the reason a billionaire and his mother found their voices again. Because sometimes love doesn't start with words. It begins with understanding the silence between them. Soul Spark, where every story reminds us that the greatest connections are felt, not heard.